Okay, I thank Senator Kaine for joining me today. And we had a deeply unsatisfying briefing this morning with Secretaries Rubio and Hegseth. It asked more questions than it answered, and it was just, look, there is almost no transparency in this administration, and that reveals itself more than anything on revealing what happened on September 2nd. This morning I demanded in front of every senator, to Hegseth's face, that he let every senator see the unedited video of what happened on September 2nd. I've seen it. It turns your stomach. It is awful, and people should see it. What the hell is Hegseth hiding? His excuse about classification, it's false, because any senator would see it in the skiff. Now, I believe with the proper safeguards, all the American people should see it. And why is this so important? It's important in itself to see if we were obeying the law. We're a law-abiding country. But it's also important because what's going on in the Caribbean is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like it before, and it could lead to another endless war. Disclosure, hearings, which our Republican Senate friends have refused to call, serve a purpose. They force the administration and public to answer very serious questions about where they're going. And so far, we've had no transparency. September 2nd is a first step, but we need a lot of transparency. So, when the truth is on your side, you don't hide the evidence. Now, on the topic of hiding things, this week the Epstein files, as you all know, are required by law to be released, and Senate Democrats will hold this administration accountable to make sure they obey the law, full stop. We fully expect Pam Bondi and Donald Trump to dodge, duck, delay, partially release the files. If they release some documents and hide others, the American people will see right through it. Public pressure is extremely important here. Public pressure and the great work of those victims of Epstein basically forced many who didn't want to support this legislation — we did want to support it from the beginning — to vote for it. And so there was only one negative vote in the House and none in the Senate. And if they try to hide, duck, conceal, public pressure will force them to come clean. So the bottom line is, we have a group of 17 members. We've divided ourselves up in task forces. We're working with the victims, the Epstein victims, their lawyers, other lawyers, people who have seen what was going on in the prosecution, who are no longer in the administration, and we will find out everything they're trying to hide. We will let the public know, and I believe we will have the full import of these files come to light. Now, something Republicans are no longer trying to hide, that category. Republicans are no longer trying to hide their total lack of a health care plan and their desire once and for all to kill the ACA tax credits, meaning more than tripling America's health care costs for too many Americans. Today, Speaker Johnson said there'll be no vote in the House to extend the credits. He has said in times in the past he will never be for extending the credits. He even acknowledged that there were some of his members, probably from the more fragile districts, Republican-held districts, that wanted to extend the credits, and he said it just was not to be. Johnson said it just was not to be. Well, tell that to an American family that's got to pay $500 to $1,000 more a month for their health care. It's just not to be. It's only just not to be because Johnson doesn't want it to be. And too many of his people are like that. Republicans are the ones in charge. They are the only impediment to extending the ACA tax credits and lowering costs for Americans. So this was not just not meant to be. This is a choice that Johnson and the Republicans have made. When these tax credits expire and premiums spike, people will lose insurance, people will get sick, some will die, and many of them will go broke along the way. When it comes to health care, the damage has been done. After January 1st, it's very hard to put that toothpaste back in the tube, and Americans will know when health care dies, it was the Republicans who did it. Senator King.
Well, I want to thank our leader, Schumer, and he asked me to join him to talk a little bit about the briefing that we had this morning. I have deep, deep concern about the administration's legal rationale for all of these strikes in international waters, but I can't tell you why. I can tell you that the rationale misuses historical precedent, and the rationale advances a domestic authorization for war that's completely contrary to the Constitution, and the rationale advances an international justification that's laughable. But I can't explain to you the reasons I've reached that conclusion, because what I know, I only know from a classified setting. I would like to share with you my deep, deep worries about the targeting criteria that the Defense Department is using to go after these ships in the Pacific and Caribbean, but I can't. I know the criteria. I've been briefed about them. I've been briefed about each individual action up to 2 weeks ago, and I have deep concerns. I'm unable to share them with you or the American public because I only know it from the skiff. I'd like to share with you my concerns about the individuals who've been killed, but I can't for the same reason. I'd like to share with you my concerns about the second strike that killed struggling survivors clinging to the shipwreck on September 2. But I can't fully explain why this is so outrageous, because most of what I know from a classified setting. Unlike Senator Schumer, I've not seen the video yet. I will see it tomorrow as a member of the Armed Services Committee, but Secretary Hegseth, as Senator Schumer said, is not even committed to let all senators see it, much less the American public. They've shown part of the video to the American public. They've shown it on the president's social media account. They've put it up essentially as television advertising, thus completely destroying any argument that it reveals, methods of intelligence gathering, but they're afraid to show they're hiding the full video for the reason that the leader said, that they're ashamed of it. Tell me another war in the history of the United States that we're 100 days into it, 90 have been killed in more than 24 operations, and yet neither the House nor the Senate has held a single public hearing in the armed services or foreign relations or intel committees about the war. It's a war that's being conducted on presidential say-so, behind closed doors, without public briefings, and without legal authorization. The time for that is drawing to an end. The leader is putting on pressure, and we are as well. We're going to get the facts before the American public. And the last thing I'll say is this. The U.S. is the leader in human rights and rule of law. And so the actions we take and the claims of legal justification we make are the standard that other nations follow. Imagine our colleague John McCain, shot down in Vietnam. Would it have been lawful for the Vietnamese to assassinate him as he clung to that craft in the middle of a lake in the city of Hanoi? Even the Vietnamese arrested him and imprisoned him, and I bet during those years of imprisonment, John McCain probably wished he was dead a few times, but thank God he lived. He lived because he became a great American hero, a great senator, a figure of hope to the whole world for his advocacy for human rights. How about the next time the Houthis are firing at American sailors who are bombing Houthi positions in the Red Sea? Should a Houthi missile or drone strike a ship? Should American sailors be clinging to shipwreck? We've just sent the message to the world that it's okay to slaughter shipwreck survivors in complete contravention of the U.S. Defense Manual and the international law of war? Is this what we want to be known for? Giving a green light to overturning decades of human rights precedent, decades of laws of war precedent? That's what this administration is now pushing America to be known for. It's time we get this out of the skiff. It's time that you be able to see the evidence and the American public be able to see it, and we'll make sure that happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Good job. He's been a great advocate for this for a while. No, right here.
Thank you so much. With the ACA subsidies that still lapse, do you see a path forward, as Leader Finn just put it, in terms of more Democrats getting on board with a bipartisan deal, or do you think it's too late?
Look, after January 1st, the toothpaste is out of the tube. Millions of people will have lost their health care. Many more will have changed their policies and signed policies. And so the bottom line is we always want to work with people who will lower health care costs. But if the Republicans want to do something, they have till January 1st to pass the one bill that can get it done, our bill. And of course, they still haven't resolved any of their issues on the Hyde issue, on Hyde as well. So this is on the Republicans. Yes.
Given what Hank said today, are Democrats going to push to add language to the defense appropriations bill or the minibus to require the release of this full video from the September 2nd strike, or will you push other language to limit the hostilities in the Caribbean Sea against Venezuela?
Look, the bottom line is, and I'll call on Tim on the second question on the War Powers Act, but on the first, we do have a lot of Republican support. Both Wicker and Jack Reed on the committee have been pushing hard to get the full video, the unedited video released to members, and many of us feel it should be released to the public under the proper circumstances. So we're going to keep pushing, and there is public pressure on that. Okay, yes.
Support a deal with a two-year extension with reforms sometime in January. Let's say it's clear it's not going to happen now, but there is bipartisan.
Again, ask the Republican insistence on Hyde, the fact that the speaker today said he doesn't want to ever do ACA, never is doing ACA, and the fact that the toothpaste's out of the bottle, that January 1st is the deadline, makes it clear if the Republicans want to do something, they ought to pass something, our extension, by January 1st. Yes.
There's also a January 30th deadline to fund the government. Do you have any expectation that Democrats might tie that to ACA like you did last time to try to get a result?
Look, just as I said, it's on the Republicans that we haven't had health care done. After January 1st, it's very, very hard to put it back in the bottle. Go ahead, Manu. I would get to you.
I appreciate that. Will you then vote to shut the government down on January 30th if you don't get an extension of ACA subsidies?
As I said, the bottom line is very simple, and that is that the way to solve this problem, because the toothpaste is already out of the tube, is get it done by January 1st. The Republicans, if they care so much and feel the heat, they should make sure they pass our bill. Yes.
But that doesn't sound like you've arrived on a strategy for how to handle January 3rd. So is that in play, yes or no, the health care issue the same as it was when the government shut down this fall?
I answered the question again.
But that doesn't sound clear, though.
The bottom line is very clear. You can't do it after January 1st, especially when the issues of Hyde and all these people, it's expired already. It's not the same as it was before. Once it expires, the toothpaste is out of the tube. Thank you.
Extend the deadline for